it going?
Good. Okay, so we're recording. So this week, we're talking about ending friendships. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes. Okay, so I recently had a friendship, um, I guess, end. That just sounds so definitive, but um, yeah. Okay, so it got me to thinking about what constitutes a good friendship and when are friendships still worth having in your life. Because it's like everything else, a relationship of any sort, whether it's, significant other, family member, friendship, whatever, it takes time, and it also creates a lot of emotions and feelings, and sometimes navigating through that can be really difficult. And at what point do you just kind of step away and say, oh, this friendship is no longer worth it? So it got me to thinking about what I appreciate in friends and what I want in friends, and I narrowed it down to someone I can be myself with. I don't feel like I have to hold back or act a certain way to be accepted by them, and someone who is reliable and accountable. Because I feel like friends need to hold each other accountable to make them the best people they can be. Friends should help you grow, help you learn, and also just be there for you because life is hard, right? We need people to be in our corners. So
That was so
I
poetic.
why thank you. I try. um yeah, so I narrowed it down to reliability, accountability, and just genuine, sincere people, positive people. So I had a friend situation where I didn't feel like I was getting any of those things in return. And I was sincerely trying my hardest to be there for her and be like the best person I could be in our friendship. And it was just never appreciated, acknowledged, or reciprocated. So that's kind of what got me to this topic. So I'm interested to hear what you think about this, Arlene.
I mean, I definitely agree that friendships are there to hold you accountable, and, being yourself with a friend is really important. Um, I think, yeah, this is where you kind of have to start to draw a line between who's an acquaintance in your life versus a friend. And I think there's an ebb and flow between those two from, different people in your life based on different circumstances. And I don't think that you can expect there not to be, you know, people change. And so sometimes your friendships might not last. And sometimes those acquaintances might change to lasting relationships. But I think that you have to have a deep connection in order for there to be a lasting relationship. Um, I think that it's all about quality over quantity, really, and dependability um, really matters there. I don't know if there's really a concrete list for me and what I'm looking for a friend. Um, for me, it's more about being able to do activities together. So I like to base my friendship based on interests. So, I want my friend to be willing to try different things with me. Like, if I wanted to do cross country skiing or something random, then, um, I'm okay with building a new friendship based on that interest. Or um, maybe, asking a friend. Yeah, so I think for me, I think I agree with you that reliability is important, but then you also need to have leniency because you may not, there may be something going on, and you know, it's all about you being able to support them when they're in need, and they being able to support you when you're in need. So the fact that your friend didn't reciprocate that, then like I think it's totally worthwhile for you to reevaluate that. Um, and I think it's natural for friendships to end sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
it's about making sure that the people that you have in your life are not toxic to you. And if there's a pattern building, then, you know, it's okay to communicate your boundaries, because maybe, you know, they're no longer the person that you thought they were, or but I think it's more important to, for me, it's like I've had actually, probably I can think of 3 friendships that have ended in my life. One was a very recent friend who, like, I got to know quite well. She invited me to a wedding of hers, and then I guess I might have not fully understood the context of her life, where she was about to give birth, and you know, I guess she was being sensitive, but I don't think that she really communicated to me that maybe what I said was offensive to her. And you know, I do wish that she had not just ghosted me and explained to me that, hey, this is what really I thought was offline, and not okay to say, and I guess have the respect to have adult conversations like that, because I think sometimes people are just so conflict averse that, like, they'd
Mm-hmm.
rather just drop a friendship than even like have that conversation, like, oh, that was awkward, like, I don't think the same way. And that's something that I really appreciate about you, is that, like, you are always there to um you know, explain things and then let them go. um
Thank you.
yeah. I also had a friend that did, so this was the opposite situation, where I thought she crossed the line, and I communicated that, and honestly, I felt that the line was crossed too far to even try to be friends thereafter. But you know, I think that it's really important that when you're ending a friendship, you're going about it in, you know, I don't like the fade out method. I really think that you need to let them know how you feel, and not just go like cold turkey. I think it's better to either call or email, and like, not to be cruel about it, but to, you know, explain, um, you know, w- you know, what's going on. And I don't think that you should enlist other friends into your conflict. And um, like, I also don't like, I guess sometimes it's appropriate, maybe if it's like you're gonna have another continued relationship with them, like maybe if they're a coworker, to instead just try to fade out, and maybe, you know, not answering text immediately, and kind of handling it kindly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I think it requires careful consideration, because, you know, I think that whatever you put out into the world, it will come back to you. So, you know, it's important to treat people with respect. And like, how did you handle your friend, and like how that ended?
Well, so yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you just said, and I appreciate you for the same reason, because I feel like you and I can talk through anything and we'll always still be friends, you know. But with other people, it's not always like that. Like the friend I had, she it's not even that she was conflict adverse. Like she thrived on drama. She just did not want to face things head on, and she would rather like go about it in a petty kind of passive aggressive way, where she almost wanted you to like chase her to try to figure out what's going on, why she feels the way she feels. And it's just exhausting, to be quite honest. Like I'm one of those people, just my personality, I'm very upfront, I'm very blunt with my feelings, and I'm okay with people being like that to me in return. I actually appreciate it when people are like that, you know, because like you said, we're all adults, we're all capable of having our emotions spoken to other people for clarification purposes, and because it's therapeutic to get it off of our chests, you know. But everybody's wired differently, so I understand that not everyone does that, and that's fine. It's just a matter of being friends with people who I guess are able to you're able to converse with in that kind of way, to where you are able to resolve conflict. You know, I guess if you have two like totally passive aggressive people who are friends, that's probably perfect, because then nothing will ever get resolved or acknowledged. So, I mean, I guess it's just finding like your perfect friendship match who you can communicate well with. You know, whatever that looks like, if it works for you, it works. But this dynamic that I had with my previous friend just did not work. It was, I never felt fulfilled in the friendship. And I know that probably sounds really stupid. Just, it probably is, but I was just never emotionally fulfilled. I felt like I was always there for her. She wasn't really there for me. She didn't like to actually go out and do things. She would always say, yes, we can make plans to do this. Okay, yes, we'll do that on this day. It never failed. She would always bail on me or try to get out of it like last minute. And not even for any like reasonable excuse. Like I get that life happens. Like absolutely. If we have plans and something happens or you're just not feeling good, like totally I get it. Like stay home, like take care of yourself. But I guess when it's a pattern, you know, that's been spread out over years that they've continuously done this, that's when to me it's okay to cut off a friendship, because at that point you're not going to change anyone. You shouldn't expect to change them. You can try to accommodate each other's feelings, and if that doesn't
Yeah.
get better, then there's really, it's a dead end. You know, like why put yourself through the grief?
I think that like we also like will have a next chapter in our lives where we're going to end up prioritizing family over friendships too, and
Right.
I think that that phase is like it happens naturally. Another like wave of narrowing down your friendships.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree
You
with
really
that.
can't fault people for prioritizing their family over friendships. So
Oh,
um
not at all. But like one of her excuses was like she had like a hair appointment
oh my
that
god.
like first thing in the morning, and we didn't even have plans until later that night, but she said she had a hair appointment and she couldn't have too many activities in one day.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, I mean definitely like important things like family, or you know, maybe you're just not feeling like doing something, like, you know, that's fine. Like I totally understand it, but I guess it's just an effort that needs to be made
Yeah.
on both
Well, what do you
both
think
ends.
is like I guess there's such a spectrum on like quality of friendships, right? Like um I've always wondered about quantifying this and like how is there like a certain frequency where you consider people closer to you because you see them more often or like talk to them more often than like what do you think on about that?
So I was actually just thinking about this the other day. It's very very ironic that you mentioned this, because for me it's not about like face to face time, like seeing someone. That means that we're like good friends if I see you X amount of times in a year, you know.
Mhm.
um to me it's just about the connection and the quality of the conversation, and just kind of knowing like, okay, that person has my back and I always have her back or his back.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
just
being on the
about,
same page.
yeah, and it's about genuineness. Like, are we just talking about like, you know, super surface level things like, oh, I got these socks at Target for $1. That's a great deal, you know? Or are we like actually, you know, talking about, hey, like I had this family issue come up, like I just need someone to talk to, or like I'm going through an issue with a boyfriend. You know, it's like really getting into like deeper, more emotional topics for me that I guess makes me consider a friendship
Yeah.
really
And it's
good
funny that you
quality.
say that because I feel like that's so much easier to do over the phone than it is to do like in a cafe where like people can overhear what you're saying. Like
True.
most of
Yeah.
the interactions I have with people day to day in my social scene, I don't feel like I can get to the deep stuff because of the environment that you're in.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, I guess if you invite them over for like wine and dinner or something, then you
Right.
can. But
Yeah. But usually those are like with multiple people. And then I've always felt that conversation is much lighter with a group of people than it is one on one.
oh, yes, totally. Because nobody wants to get into their deep and darkest personal stuff, like at a, you know, at a Friendsgiving. So I think it's definitely, you do have to consider, like, okay, is this like an appropriate conversation to be having at this social setting?
Have you
And like,
noticed that there's been a trend in like card games that are about conversation topics and like they're attempting to have like people that are awkward be able to have more meaningful conversations?
yeah, no, that's awesome. Like, it's just hard for some people to open up. And like, there's nothing wrong with it. That's just how they're wired. So like, games like that are a great idea, you know?
Yeah, I think I would like to play one. I haven't yet. But then it's also like I don't want to have TMI about a person that I just met.
Yeah, I mean, I really have no shame, so I would be okay with that, but I'm pretty open. I think it just depends on how much we're all willing to, I guess, put out there to the universe.
Yeah. But then
But
it's really easy to get competitive with those games because like you want to come up with like the best story and like sometimes it's like that can be too revealing.
oh, good point. Yeah, that's totally true. Um, but going back to what you said, you also made a good point that I wanted to touch back on, if that's cool with
Hmm.
you. You said that there's different like levels. You consider some people like acquaintances, you consider some people better friends. So I guess my question to you is like, how many just sort of acquaintances do you think you have? Because I don't think I have any.
Yeah, like I'm not really comfortable with the concept of acquaintances, to be honest. Like, I don't talk to my neighbors, and like I feel like neighbors are an acquaintance category because like you don't want a neighbor to know too much about your business.
Right.
But like normally the people that I want to talk to are people I want to be know better, and thus as a result, like I want to call them a friend. I don't want to call them an acquaintance.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's definitely some activities that you do like with one friend that you wouldn't do with another. Um, but I guess my whole thing is like, what's the point of having like a kind of non-meaningful friendship with someone, like an acquaintance? Like, I know several people who have that, and for them it works, and more power to them. I guess like my friendships, I just have
Yeah,
fewer
it's a
so I
really
can
good
have.
point. I think that maybe coworkers fall into an acquaintance category. Um, but like even there, if I like someone, I'm gonna want to be like to know like you should just to be a good person. I think is being part of like caring about other people. So you don't want like I guess yeah. I mean, coworkers are a professional setting though, so I think that's where acquaintance is more appropriate.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I see where you're at with that. I mean, I maybe instead of using the word acquaintance, then just classify it as like a not deep friend or not good friend. Like, I don't know what you would call it, but some people do have friends that they, see occasionally, just have like very basic conversations with, do a few things, but they're like not good friends. They don't tell
Yeah,
each other a
maybe
lot of
it's like
things.
when you're such a social butterfly that you have like friends of friends in your outer circle, and um,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
not close to that person, but your friend is close to that person, and thus you know them. And I gotta be honest, I don't have like too many people like that in my life, because I like to have like repetitive interaction with people, and um, I mean everyone has like acquaintances on Facebook that they're friends with, but you know I'm not really like looking at like unless it's popping up on my news feed, like it's not really something that's on my radar.
Yeah, I totally agree. And quite frankly, I don't have time to hang out with people, in my normal week who I don't really consider to be like great friends. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like if, we were at home all day and didn't have a job or something like that, you'd have all the time in the world to just go out and casually chit chat with people,
Or
yada
I guess
yada.
like if you had a landlord that like you had good conversation with, but like, again, they're seeing you in their professional setting, so they're not
Yeah.
probably going to be like cool with hanging out with you, but like maybe you get them a small Christmas present because like you appreciate whatever small thing they did for you. And so I think that's more like in line with an acquaintance.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is true. But yeah, like I think both of us then probably just have like really strong friendships with the friends that we do have, and the rest of the people we just consider to not really be friends, or we're
Like
friendly.
extras in a movie.
Yeah, actually that's a good way, and it's not like intentional. It's not like we're trying to exclude people, you know. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people would probably agree with us though. We all have like our close knit friends, and the rest of the people we respect, we want to be good, good fellow human beings towards, but at the end of the day, they don't really matter as much as like our
Oh God, that
solid.
sounds so horrible. But no, I
It
know what you
does.
mean. Like they're living their own lives.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like a hostile thing, but
Yep. So I think in conclusion, we both agree that, different people would define what qualities they value in a friendship differently. But I think reliability is probably at the top of everyone's list. Um, and it's not that you're both there for each other continuously throughout time, but that, when it really matters, you're there, that you
yes.
understand the values of the other person and can have good conversations. And they can make, like being able to make each other laugh is so important too. Like, I
Oh
feel like
God, yes. Yes.
we're both laughing when we're talking. And if you're not doing that, you're not having fun.
Right, exactly. I mean, we work hard. We want a good laugh now and again, even if it's talking about socks at Target. Like, just, be your true self. If you're goofy, own that goofy flag. Like, wave it high and proud. Just be who you are. And that's the beauty of friendship. With friends, you can really just be who you are. Nobody's
Yay,
perfect, but
friends.
yay. Yeah, nobody's perfect, but we all just kind of, roll with the punches and get through this life together, And it's nice knowing
Yeah.
that we have other people there with us.
Yeah. So, everyone out there, make sure if you're deciding upon ending a friendship that you do so gracefully and tell them how you feel.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of like, seasonal house cleaning. Every now and again, you just kind of have to clean house. And it's nothing, malicious. It's just you need to put yourself first and do what's right for you. But that's just my own opinion. Take it for what it is.
So, tune in next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.